Well, thank you very much for volunteering to be asked about your alarm system. We really appreciate that. My first question is very straightforward, really. What was it that made you decide you wanted to have an alarm system?
Well, I think the most important thing for us was it was a new area. We didn't quite know the area. We'd done some, work on it before we moved to Frogmore. But the most important thing was we looked around, we looked at other houses. They all had alarms on. And we have a neighbourhood watch scheme which also recommended that we put the alarm on the house, so it seemed the natural thing to do.
Right, yeah. Sounds very sensible, especially with lots of alarms in the area,
Yeah.
leaving you vulnerable. So when you decided that you were going to buy an alarm, did you look at other companies and other alternatives? How did you go about it?
We did. We had actually 3 or 4 people around, some of the big guys like ADT, and they basically looked at, they did a whole kind of review of the house. It's quite a big old house. It's a Georgian house, 3 tiers. So from that point of view, they did a kind of like a root to branch view on the whole house. Once we got the reports back, they varied in different stages about what services they would offer. So we then looked at that. We were then advised by a friend of ours actually about Guard Home. So we then talked to Eric Chorley, and we got Eric round, and we eventually decided to, after a lot of talking and reviewing, to go with Eric and Guard Home.
Right. Could you highlight any specific things that sort of took you in the direction of making the decision in favour of Guard Home? Were there one or two key elements?
I think the key was actually the personal experience that we got from Eric in particular. What Eric did, which a lot of the other guys didn't do, is that he basically sat us down first and foremost and asked us what we wanted. He didn't just go around the house and blitz the house and say we need this, we need X, Y and Z. He actually asked us and involved us in the whole process, which was excellent. And then really it was a case that he guided us through on a step-by-step basis of exactly what was going to happen and when it was going to happen, and of course how much it was going to cost, rather than us actually receive a bill in a couple of weeks through the door, which reviewed the services and what the costs would be. So really it was more about the experience and the personal touch and the service that Guard Home offered that swung it their way.
Okay, that's great. And then following on from there, when you had your installation and the alarm put in and you were shown how it worked, how was that experience for you?
Really, really good. Basically from start to finish it was half a day maximum. As I say, it's a big old house, so it did involve a lot of work. Eric brought, I think from memory, his son-in-law round, which again was quite interesting. He was a nice enough chap, and again Eric just talked us through the whole process, which was really important for us to know. To give you an example, we had this place damp proofed when we moved in. The guys came in, didn't tell us exactly what they were going to do, and within minutes it was like a building site. So we actually had to leave the house for 2 days for these guys to finish. They just didn't tell us what they were going to do. Eric talked us through point by point, as I say, when he sat down with us initially, and then when he installed the whole process, and he talked us through the whole process as we went through it, and most importantly the key points about how to use the alarm, what to expect with the alarm, and the ongoing service afterwards, which is also key.
Mm-hmm. And having had the alarm installed and got used to it, how have you found using it? How easy?
Really, really easy. It comes with a fob. We just use the fob, turn it on and off. We can program the actual console very, very easily. And we've only had, I think, one mishap with it, which was our fault, not the alarm's fault. So I think overall we're very, very happy with it.
Wonderful. And sort of lastly, if you were talking to somebody else thinking about buying an alarm, having gone through the whole experience and ended up with what you wanted, what would your key recommendations be to somebody buying an alarm right now?
I think it comes like it's like anything. As a consumer, when you're buying stuff these days, you've got to be careful about looking at the detail. You've got to do due diligence, if you like, on the actual product that you're buying. So we did a bit of research on the web to start with. Also, make sure that you understand each step of the process, which is really what won it for a Guard Home with us. Just really understand, what this entails, because it's not an easy job. Particularly if you've got an older house as we've got. It's just a case of effectively knowing each step, knowing the process, understanding what you're going to get for your money is key, and knowing what's going to happen once it's installed. Further down the line, learn more about the ongoing service, which we found excellent.
Right, well, thank you very much indeed. Some very helpful advice to other people there, I'm sure, and thank you for giving your time.
That's a pleasure.